Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR Prepping. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. Here we go. Okay, I got my drink. I hope you have yours. And while we discuss, so a lot of times I get a lot of emails from different subscribers or non-subscribers, but just people in general asking me various questions. And one question I get a lot, or that I even see on social media platforms, is why do I have to prep that, right? They're told, or they see on a video or somewhere, hey, you need to prep this, but they don't understand why. I mentioned this a while ago. I saw a young gentleman on TikTok, and he was videoing the flour and sugar aisle and was like, hey, I know this stuff's important. I'm going to put this in Mylar bags and I'm going to, store this, but I don't know why. Right? He did not understand why he needed to prep it. So I'm going to give you, let me see, 10, 11, I think I got 12 items, you guys, that you are told, or we are told from a lot of preppers to prep. And I'm going to tell you why. So these are items you need to prep, absolutely, but I'm going to give you the why behind why we prep them, okay? All right, so my very first one I have is baking soda. So baking soda is an extremely versatile prep, and it can be used for so many things, and why we need it, right? So from a cleaning agent, from a declogger, from a deodorizer, right? You can use it to make toothpaste and deodorant. You can use it to unclog things, to wash vegetables, to unclog a drain, to clean various surfaces, right? Obviously to bake with. So baking soda has a ton of ways that you can use it. Now, I did a video a long time ago. I don't even want to venture of when I did that video, but I'll find the video and I'll link it down below in the description box so you can check it out. And it's basically, hey, here's all the uses for baking soda and why it's important to have baking soda in your preps. And baking soda is very predominantly pretty cheap, right? You can get it in the smaller boxes, but you can buy it in big bags, right? And then preserve it. So super important. We personally used it for several things, and I'm actually pretty excited to use it later on if I had to, right? For like toothpaste, deodorant, that type of thing. Okay. So if you didn't know about baking soda, make sure you look into that and the uses. Now the next thing is kind of a threefer, if you will, right? It's got some bonuses in it. The thing that I want you to prep, or that you need to prep, is flour. So flour is so important to prep because obviously it's the baseline for a lot of baked goods, right? Rolls and breads and things like that. And a lot of that stuff, if you're not able to get it during SHTF, things are bad, things go left, it's famine, whatever. At a minimum, you want to be able to make your family a loaf of bread, right? Now, in that, a lot of preppers will tell you wheat berries. You're going to hear that a lot. And people go and they buy them bags and bags of wheat berry and really don't understand how they can even utilize it. Now, obviously, you could so in case, I'm not even going to say obviously, I said obviously, but you could cook wheat berries, right? You can actually like boil them up and kind of make a porridge out of them. But a lot of reasons why somebody is prepping wheat berries is the thought process that they can grind it down and make their own flour, okay? So if you prep, in theory, wheat berries, you can mill that down, and then you can make your own flour if you didn't prep it or rent out, or later on in life when you're trying to continue to do the things, right? The thing is so you can prep wheat berries, you can prep flour, but you have to prep a mill as well. If you don't have a mill, you can't therefore mill down and grind down things like wheat berries or corn for cornmeal or whatever, right? So you've got to have that. They have electric versions, and then they have hand crank kind. They have kinds that connect to your counter, but you need to get yourself a mill. I would invest in both, but you have to be thinking about grid down. You have to be thinking about the day when we don't have power and how you would mill that wheat berry down, okay? Now, if you know for a fact, like, that's not your thing, and you're like, I have no desire to just prep barrels of wheat berry, then hey, by all means, don't do that. Spend your money elsewhere, okay? But if you're a big baker, that's a huge bartering item as well. So just together, number 2, flour, wheat berry, get yourself a mill, that whole area, okay? Number 3 I have is yeast. Now, yeast, again, for making bread, number 1, but rolls. Now, can you make those items without yeast? Yes, you can. There is recipes to make stuff without yeast. I suggest that you start writing down your recipes so that you have bread recipes that you like, right? That you've liked and tested, ones that have alternate ways of using different materials and different ingredients, because there's a lot of different variations to making different things without using traditional products. But for me, yeast is super, super important, okay? I get my yeast, vac seal it. I have little packs of yeast. I have big vac sealed packages of yeast, right? But super important to keep yeast if you plan on doing any kind of baking. Number 4 thing I have that, every prepper will tell you to prep, and that's rice, okay? So the thing about rice, and I'm going to tell you, number 4 is rice, number 5 is beans. And the thing about rice and beans is when you have whole countries, whole nations and cultures that survive off of rice and beans. And that's for a reason, okay? It's super filling, it has full of nutrients, it's protein, it's very, very hearty, okay? And they can be eaten alone. They can be eaten with just a little bit of seasoning. And then, of course, they're versatile in the fact that you can throw just about anything on top of it and eat it, okay? It can be made 1,001 ways, basically. Rice, beans, if you get those 2 basics down and you get, years worth of that, and then you prep around those 2 items, your family's gonna be good, okay? Again, practice those recipes, learn to make those recipes. Whole cultures living off of rice and beans, okay? And there's so many ways that you can cook it, but it's a must. So 4 and 5 is rice and beans. Get those. Get your 25-pound bags or your 50-pound bags. Divide them up in your Mylar or your glass jars, however you're gonna do it. Put your oxygen absorbers or your bay leaves, however you're going to store it, and get it stored. If you are not up on your rice and bean levels, I would say, people say we don't have very much time. Like what would you do now? Rice and beans, baby. If you do not have your levels of rice and beans up, that's what I would concentrate on right now. Get your water, get your meds. But food-wise, get that stuff first and then work on the other stuff, okay? Because it's fairly cheaper. Some beans are more expensive than others, though, so don't sleep on that. Beans can actually be pretty expensive depending on where you get them and depending on what kind you get. But get stocked up. If you do not think that your levels of rice and beans are up to par, or you don't have at least a year's worth, you're messing up. You need to get that because it's not going to cost you that much, even with a big family. Even better if you have a big family, this is a must because you can spread, rice and beans can spread I can take our very large family that's going to be here. I can take 1 quart jar of a soup, a stew, whatever, and I can stretch that for the entire family because I pour it over rice, right? Make a pot of rice and you make that. And that by itself, you're like, that's not enough to feed a big family. But it is when it's just the extra to the rice. It's just the extra to the beans, okay? Because those 2 other things are super filling. So if you have a 1.5 cups of rice or a 1.5 cups of beans, and then on top of that, you have a 1/2 cup, let's say, of a stew or a soup that I've canned, right? That's spread out. That is a very filling meal. And then you go further and make a loaf of bread, and you now have a slice of bread to go with that. Those are full bellies, and that's what it's about, is being, continuing to eat food and be well, right? Number 6 thing I have is Epsom salt. So Epsom salt, again, obviously all types of medicinal reasons, your feet, your backs, taking a bath, soaking, right? All those normal things that you think, oh, Epsom salt's for. But Epsom salt is good for a lot of other things. Another big way people are using your Epsom salt is in their gardens, right? So take a look, do some research on Epsom salt. It is very, very important. You can catch Epsom salt on sale. So I usually wait until I see it at Fred Meyer's or Walmart, and I just wait till it's like $5 a bag, $4 a bag. If I can get it for a super sale, like 2 for $5, something like that, but that's very rare. I get excited when I see a big bag for $5 and I grab it up, okay? But Epsom salt, super important to have that in your preps, okay? Number 7 thing I have that preppers will always be pushing and telling you to get, and that's canned Spam and canned chicken, right? I think that it just makes sense because I'm not even sure how Spam has been, you know, that prepper meat or tagged that prepper meat, but it is, right? And canned chicken. Now, chicken makes sense to me because so many cultures around the world, if you talk about commonality of meats that we eat as different cultures all around the world, chicken is a very, very common meat amongst a lot of different places, right? So chicken makes sense. It's super cheap. Americans, that's, I think, the number one meat as far as commonality, right? As far as stats wise, chicken is a delicious meat, right? And again, those are easy meats to add to all types of other filler type foods, right? The Spam, the salt content, the sodium content, that's going to be important later. And chicken is just super versatile. I mean, extremely versatile. Now, I think the important thing to remember with when we say, hey, you know, get your canned Spam, get your canned chicken. 1, if you don't eat those, don't get them. And 2, the importance of just any canned meat. Getting meat in another option to have it shelf stable on your shelf. Now, if you're pressure canning meat, that's amazing. I pressure can meat, but I also stack cans of meat like crazy, okay? To me, that's a very simple way, even again, a very small can of meat, but I barely put that in some rice or some beans. And it's just enough to give a little bit of flavor and so that everybody has some actual meat in their diet, but I'm not going through it like crazy, okay? It's very versatile and it can be spread out much easier than you think if you have the right bulkers, you have the right other things you need to make those meals stretch. Now, and canned meats, I'll go ahead again and put that in the description box. I've done several videos on different canned meats to get different canned foods. I think I have one like 15 canned meats, but there's tons and tons of meat, and a lot of people don't realize that they can buy meat in a can like that, right? They're just used to buying it over the counter, and they don't realize that you can buy fish and salmon and tuna and hams and just all types of different meats, roast beefs and pulled pork and all types of different meats that you can buy in a can. Turkey in a can, right? Dark and white meat chicken in a can. I just realized that a couple years ago that I could get dark and white meat chicken right in the can. I was always buying the white meat. They have the dark meat, you guys. Same with turkey, right? Didn't realize they had cans of turkey. They have canned turkey meat, okay? So again, it's not the best in the whole world, right? Is it better to have it fresh? Is it better to possibly have it pressure canned? Absolutely. But it gives you options for shelf stable foods, okay? And to get those on your shelves. 8 is liquor. So again, obviously liquor for drinking, liquor for bartering, liquor for medicinal purposes, right? Making tinctures, different things like that. Liquor for, cleaning off stuff, right? Disinfecting stuff. Liquor for burning, right? You can burn that in a cook stove to be able to cook stuff. So there's a lot of reasons why we say to prep liquor. A lot of people be like, liquor, oh, that's a vice. Why are you telling people to? There's a reason behind these things that you're going to hear all these channels over and over and over say, you need to prep this, you need to prep this, you need to prep this. And liquor, do not sleep on the importance of liquor. I get it if you're Christian and you're like, we don't really mess with that, but there's so many other uses for it outside of drinking it that could literally save your life, okay? And so it's important to have liquors, and to have the right type of liquors that you want for whatever it is you're trying to do. Okay. But liquor is very, very important, and the higher, the better, right? You want to be able to preserve stuff. You want to be able to do tinctures. You want to be able to burn it. There's a lot of reasons why you want to have good quality liquor in your preps. Number 9, this is kind of an off the wall one, but I actually get this question a lot, and I'm sure you guys are going to just be mentioning something in the chat right now. And that's an AM FM radio. You know, a lot of people still sleep on like, well, why do I need that? I have my phone, I have a tablet, I have all these ways to get information. You know, I have my radio in my car. Just all these different reasons I hear of why do you need an AM FM radio? Why do you need that? Well, you need that in case the internet goes down and you don't have the ability to watch the TV, watch the internet, get the news in that way. You're not getting your feeds, your notifications like you do now, and you have to be able to get intel and get information about what's going on. Right? A major event happens and that stuff goes down. How are you getting your information? How are you understanding what's even happening around you if you don't have a basic radio to broadcast basic information of what's happening, right? People that tell me, oh, well, I have my car. Well, what if a CME hits or an EMP from an enemy missile or something happens and that now doesn't work, right? Could that be the same with an AM FM radio if you don't protect it? Possibly. But you need to have these other options to be able to get information, okay? A storm comes through, whatever it is, baby, you need to have information and understand what is happening around you. You have to have that capability, because to be dark and not understand what is happening, how bad is it? How broad of a problem is it? Is this the whole United States? Is this just your city? Is this just the state? Is it what exactly is happening? So then you can know how to employ your preps. Now you know what to pull out, how bad is it going to get, and you can start making moves and employing emergency plans. If you don't know what's going on, then you can't employ plans. Yeah, can you adapt and try to figure it out? Of course. And trust me, there's going to be a lot of people doing that, okay? But something as simple as an AM FM radio that costs $20-25, it may be cheaper if you go to a thrift store or go to a garage sale, but you've got to have this stuff, okay? And it's surprising to me still today, the people that question why you need an AM FM radio. Number 10, trash bags. Again, super versatile. We tell you to prep these because for obvious reasons. Trash, obviously, pandemics, getting rid of contaminated biohazard type stuff, right? Getting rid of waste, getting rid of any kind of trash and bio waste that you need to get out of your home, right? Can be used for rain gear, can be used to put over windows, right? If you're trying to seal stuff off for fallout or close off vents, so many ways to use a trash bag, okay? And so it's super important to have not only different size trash bags, super strong type of trash bags is very, very important. Depending on what type you get, will depend on the versatility, but you've got to have, it's more than just trash that you're using these trash bags. But trash is a huge piece of that, because if things get shut down, there is no trash service. If there's no utilities, there's no bathrooms, there's a lot of reasons why you're going to need to contain things, or nuclear or something like that happens. That's a way to close off vents, to put up on windows if you don't have other tarping or other whatever. Again, tarping, you could use that to seal up a hole. There's just a lot of ways that you can use a trash bag. I know there's folks on YouTube that, here's 101 ways to use a trash bag. Check out those videos, right? Because it helps you get your mind thinking of different ways that you can use this stuff, you guys. Number 11 I have is books. So again, why are you guys always pushing books? You know, books. We have the internet. I have all my stuff downloaded on my tablet. You know, again, you lose the internet. You don't have that stuff at the tip of your finger, you know, at your fingertips, right? You don't have that information that we all look for all throughout the day. You'd be surprised how much you go to the internet and you're looking for an answer. You're looking for something. You're learning how to do something. You're going to a video. You're doing this. You're doing that, right? And all of a sudden you don't have that. And all you have is whatever manuals, literatures, how to do books and stuff that you have in your home, right? That's how you're going to be learning. And if you don't have that stuff, you're in the dark, right? You're not going to know how to do that stuff. And then it's up to either you just winging it and trying to figure out stuff, or you trying to drastically find somebody that knows how to do the thing that you need done. And if you just stocked up on some basic how to do books, right? Basic gardening books, basic homesteading books, basic recipe type books, cookbooks, preparedness books, survival type books, there's so many books, right? Doctor, medicinal, holistic, you name it, okay? There's a lot of things that we could, I guess would be important that we know, but you can't possibly learn everything. And to be able to have a piece of literature that you can go back to try to find the answer, to try to rectify what's happening to you or what it is you're trying to correct, is going to be vital. Okay. Not to mention entertainment books, right? Fiction books, nonfiction books, fiction books, books and stuff and magazines to keep you entertained, right? During a crisis, during a grid down situation, during a, hole up in your home, fallout type situation, and having something to preoccupy you. Okay. Then the last thing I have, number 12, is salt. So again, salt, a lot of people will be like, okay, well, that makes sense. We put salt on so many things, salt, pepper. You want to be able to season your food. But again, salt is so versatile. Yes, for cooking. Yes, for flavoring. It's huge for preserving food. When you talk about preserving food, grid down, you talk about canning, water bathing, you talk about curing meat, you talk about all these things that you need that salt for when it comes to food preservation, okay? Using the salt in the garden, right? For different pests, slugs, things like that. There's a lot of different ways to use salt, okay? And what's really bad about, or not bad, but something that a lot of people don't think about is we eat so many things that are processed, that are already put together for us, seasoned, whatever. And when you go from that to now you're just eating basic food, you're just eating a pot of rice, right? So you're eating all these foods that don't have that sodium level that your body's already used to. And we need salt in our bodies to live. And so if you're not thinking about salt, you're not prepping salt, that's it. If you're like, oh, well, I'm, a health person or something, you got to have salt in your preps. Different salts too, and quality salts, right? You need to have stuff that's first of all, salt will last forever if it's not compromised, right? It's one of those foods, one of those preps that will last forever, okay? If you keep it right, as long as it doesn't get compromised, doesn't get wet, right? Condensation, that type of thing, you'll be good and you'll have it forever. And so you can prepare and prep good quality stuff. Canning salts, pickling salt, all types of different salts, okay? Ice cream salts. So think about your salts. I did a video on salt. Again, we're talking about videos I did a very long time ago. Maybe I'll try to find it, you guys. Put in the description box for you. But it basically was just a video of me showing you how I preserve my salt, okay? And different salts that I preserve. And, how I was preserving salt for long-term storage, right? Not stuff I've got in my house and I'm using on a regular rotation, but my long-term salt. See, I have certain foods that I store for long-term, meaning once I put them away, they're for a rainy day, baby. They're for 20, 25, 30 years from now, right? They're not for any time, God willing, they're not for any time sooner than that, okay, when I put them up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Now listen, I know that there's other stuff that's super important. This is not the be all end all list, right? Let me know. I'm sure you guys have been talking in the chat some different things that are important to prep. Let us know if you're watching this later in the comments, different stuff that you think is important and the why, because the question that people are asking is the why. Why do I prep that? Why are you telling me to prep that? Why do all preppers be telling me to prep this? I have no idea how to do it. Sometimes it's innocence, and it's just that gentleman, for example, obviously never baked in his life and was in that aisle and had heard, hey, you need to prep this stuff, and he knew that, but had no idea why he needed to do it, right? What's it for, right? For him, that was just alien stuff that he was looking at, okay? And so in the comments, let people know different things. Hey, this is important to prep, and this is why, okay? Because you have all types of variety of people that are watching this in regards to how long that they've been prepping for. So I hope you guys stay well. Let me know in comments also how you feel about premieres, if you're going to enjoy that. I should be chatting with you right now during this. I'm working on a few more things for my channel. And I'm just excited for the future and doing things a little bit differently with you guys. Okay, so continue to do the things, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye.